Well, welcome along to Tallinn in Ljubljana, Slovenia for the 2020 ICF Canoe Slalom World Cup 1. A calendar that's been hard hit by COVID. Thankfully, the paddlers back onto the water, although plenty of athletes unable to make it. The Tallinn Whitewater course, located on the Sava River, 8 kilometers northwest of the city centre. A river that shares 3 capitals, Zagreb, Belgrade, and of course where we are in Ljubljana. IOC President Thomas Bach visited Slovenia recently and came to see Tallinn, praised the amazing sporting achievements of the small nation. Certainly been big news with Tadej Pogačar's Tour de France victory, but it's all about the paddlers today. Plenty of rainfall could make it a challenging course, so a perfect time to introduce my co-commentator Bertrand Gutierrez, former paddler and coach. How do you see today going?
Hi everyone. So Tallinn, it's a big whitewater course today, so it's going to be really challenging for every paddlers. So let's see what's happened during these days.
Well, very exciting. 8 of the top 50 in the world here for this women's K1 event. Certainly all eyes will be on the reigning world champion Eva Tersaj, who will be carrying Slovenia's main hopes. She finished 4th at the European Championships and was expected to battle with 2-time world champion Corina Kulnel, only for the Austrian to pull out. Therefore, European silver medalist last month, Camille Prigent of France appears her biggest threat. Do you know much about Prigent?
Yeah, she's from France actually, and she's a really good paddler. So let's see what she gonna do.
But first up, Gabriela Satkova of the Czech Republic, just 18 years of age. K1 success at the 2019 Under-23 World Championships with a silver medal. And a Euro team gold, but European double gold in Prague last month in C1 and C1 team. So does she have much experience of K1?
Yeah, she's a really good paddler actually. She practiced C1 and K1, but I'm sure she practices more C1 actually. She's a really good paddler and she's still very young, and she's doing a good run at the moment.
Certainly 15 medals under 23 and junior championships. Now taking her opportunity to be the first out on the challenging course. A lot of rainfall said. So far so good?
Yeah. She's using the good line at the moment. She's like in the middle of the gate. I talk a little bit too fast.
Curse of the commentator.
Gate, yes.
She must have heard you.
She's a little bit late right now. She touches a little bit tight.
How difficult it is when you make those errors to keep your focus, and suddenly a good run has suddenly collapsed all around her. How tough is it to try and put those errors out of your mind when you have those kind of mistakes?
Yeah, it's a really difficult part when you're an athlete actually. Like when you touch the gate, you have to stay focused on your line, and sometimes you think too much about your touch and your mistakes, and it's hard to stay on.
Well, that was certainly the case. Gabriela Satkova is ranked number 1, but clearly it's not going to be a time that's going to challenge the rest. Well, Madison Corcoran out next, the 18-year-old, 2019 K1 Junior Champion, 7th place. Twin sister Michaela. She takes focus now.
Good start at the top of the section.
A lot of paddlers obviously here this weekend with COVID affecting who can be here. A chance for people who normally wouldn't be in a semi-final of a World Cup to make an impression.
Yeah.
Madison Corcoran hoping to avoid the devastating end.
this gate there are two options. So you can go straight on this gate or you can spin on it because it's a little bit hard. It's really tight. So she used to do direct. So
Is that an opportunity to potentially pick up some time if
Yes.
you're aggressive?
exactly, yeah.
So far, strong paddle, trying to avoid the kind of collapse that the Czech teenager Sakova suffered.
It's a good experience for her, you know. She's still young, so she take an experience.
I suppose that's the big thing, to take the opportunity that's gifted to a lot of these athletes in a time when they might not be at this level.
Exactly.
Well, her father competed at C1 Slalom, the 92-96 Olympics. Certainly doing the family proud. And unsurprisingly, into the top ranking spot. Well, another Czech out onto the water, world 223. Katarina Duskova.
Yeah, Czech Republic, it's a really strong nation. It's one of the best nations in the world.
Obviously with that there's more pressure from newer countries, Brazil obviously after the Olympic Games and stuff, but still the European countries are the powerhouses.
Yeah, exactly. But some in the different country are really good. Huh? Jessica Fox, for example, from Australia, is the best, one of the best kayakers in the world. So
I guess it's a good thing for paddling and kayaking canoe that the sport is growing. There are more people in the house.
yes, exactly. She's a bit late at the first section, but she was a little bit too high on this up. This part is really difficult on this up because it's really boily, so it's really hard to keep the line.
Is that being
well.
made more difficult by the rainfall, or is that just generally would be a challenging section?
It's really challenging section about the current. The current is really, you know, boily.
Plays with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, a decent enough run. As we say, quite a lot of the young paddlers getting a fantastic experience out on the Tassin course. Certainly a challenging time in the boats. So Daria Kuznetsova of Russia. Today it's her birthday, her 21st. So can she celebrate it with a fabulous run here? Her last appearance in Ljubljana was the 2019 World Cup event in January that went out in the first heat 35th. She'll certainly finish higher than that today.
She was a little bit low on gate 6.
So when you say low, do you mean in terms of her positioning or how she's come through the gate?
Yeah, I think she was too close of the current and she missed a little bit her line, you know.
So in terms of when you're trying to get the right line, what are the main things you're having to think about? The current, your position?
You have to play with the current, you have to play with your balance as well. So kayaking, it's always about balance, you know. You have to lose a little bit of your balance to go fast, but not too much because you can lose it after that.
So you have to really make a judgment call on how much you can give. And
Yeah.
also, I guess that depends how the competition's going.
Yeah,
if you
for
need
sure,
to
yeah.
make time, you're going to take more risks.
Exactly.
I guess for these younger athletes, this is a time to worry about your own performance. They're not likely thinking about, oh, I could win, or
Yeah. There are a lot of really good paddlers today, so you have to be an experience.
What shows is Kuznetsova.
So she's a little bit late. It's going to be hard for the final, but
You can see the grimace
Still an
just trying to duck the gate there. Certainly showing the test of their skills as Hungary make their appearance. Sara Temia Seprenier, 27 years of age, competed in the K1 slalom sprints and also wild water canoeing, so maybe that will play well for her in what looks pretty wild conditions.
she decided to do spin on this gate.
So what are the options in terms of how you would enter a gate, in terms of you're either trying to duck it or
Yes,
maneuver?
sometime when the gates are really tight, so you have to decide if you go direct or if you spin it. And so depend your level and your confidence, you know.
And
You have
just
to
what
be
you prefer?
confident. Yeah, or what do you prefer, etc. So to remind you, on the slalom course, there is like between 18 and 25 gates with at least 6 upstream gates. So the upstream gates are red and the downstream are green. And there are also penalties. So if you touch the gate, you have plus 2 second penalty. And if you miss it, you have 50-second penalty. So it's almost like being disqualified, you know?
It's pretty much a KO.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Well, speaking of which, as you see, 2 penalty points, a touched gate, and struggling against what is, for the moment, the fastest time from Madison Corcoran of the United States. Really see the struggle. It's getting stuck there.
It's a really challenging course here in Tassen. So,
Well, it's not surprising. 3 World Championships have been to Tassen. 2010, the last, when Slovenia hosted for the first time as an independent nation after independence in '91. So Ksenia Krylova of Russia.
so she decided to go straight on 6 direct. So she's a little bit low on this up 7, but she's still in time.
It'll be interesting as we work through the field. Likely the times are going to get attacked much more aggressively as the field becomes more experienced.
She's doing well at the moment. The second part is pretty good.
Well,
Good up on the left.
2020 under 23 European gold medalist, so that was in the K1 team event. How much difference is there between the team event and the solo? Obviously, it's very much all on you when it's just you in the boat.
The team is 3 boats following each other, and they are doing the course, and you have to respect the partner with you. So it's quite hard to doing team race, but it's really different actually. But it's really good for the cohesion of the team, and you can see the level of the nation.
Well, in the end, a strong run, falling apart a little bit for Krylova. World 103, followed by 102 from Sweden, Monika Metaskova. She failed to reach the semi-final at the Euros in Prague in K1. Was 13th in her second best Heat 2 finish. This is her first ever semi-final in this reduced COVID field. Has performed a couple of times at Tassen, so she'll hopefully use that experience to her advantage. How much of a difference does it make, obviously, having competed at a meet before, if knowing something about the course you're about to attack?
It's really different when it's your first time, you know. This course is really challenging, really different than the others. So yeah, it's a really good experience for the young paddlers, but it's hard to expect a really good, but sometimes happen, you know.
Sometimes you get a surprise.
Exactly.
For the moment, it's Corcoran's time that is proving tough to beat. See that from plus 7.28. No one yet has been able to really attack the time. About to break into the top 100 ranked paddlers in women's K1. So the experience level's about to really rocket.
Yeah, she's a bit late on this gate. It's going to be hard to...
Late in terms of her timing, or just the fact that how quickly she should have got to the gate?
Yeah, the timing and also the line. She was a little bit like low on the upstream, but you know, still really hard. You know, like you have to play with the current all the time, and sometimes it doesn't work.
It can be a brutal mistress, as we see Ria Shribar, world number 80 from the United States, turned that age just 4 days ago, on the 13th of October. She was the youngest paddler at the Rio 18 World Championships, finishing a respectable 18th in her second heat.
Yeah, this gate number 6, it's really hard actually, because if you stay too close to the current, the current can push you down, and then you are a little bit late on 7. So this part is really challenging.
And we had heats yesterday, but the heats weren't actually for qualification. They were just an opportunity for paddlers to test the course. How much help will that have given to paddlers to have had at least one run on the course before today?
Yeah, it's so much better. You can practice on the course, and you can be more confident. It's so much better for your pressure.
I imagine the problem is a current is not a fixed thing.
Exactly, yeah. The current change, especially in Tassen. So you have to play all the time and adapt your paddling all the time. So it's for that the experience, it's really important on this sport. I think we can see a little bit later with the best paddlers.
The difference.
The difference, yeah, exactly.
Well, you can see the frustration. Clearly was hoping for a lot better.
But she's still a really good paddler, you know. She's 18 years old, and she did some mistakes. She had some penalty, but still good.
Certainly is a very young field. Roman Prijon, almost an elder at 21 years of age.
She's French.
So you know her well. She clearly likes a little bit of a laugh.
Yeah, I know her. She's a really good paddler as well. And last week, she won one run at the Olympic selection in France. So it's not enough to go to the Olympic championship for sure, but it's explained her level. Like she is pretty good.
It's a good sign for the future that she's making those kind of. How is the Olympics set up? We're pretty clear on who's qualified, or? Yeah.
There is 3 races. I mean, in France there were three races, and they took the 2 best results. So she won 1 race, so it's really good.
Her only senior outing at World Cup level was in Ljubljana. Semi-final, she finished 19th. Under 23 K1 Team Gold 2019.
She's doing a really good run at the moment.
Really battling.
Really aggressive.
Water, and that is a superb time.
That's a good time.
And bursting clear out in front.
Let's see, but I think it's going to be good for the final. But I don't want to talk too early.
You don't want to jinx her.
Yeah.
Not your fellow compatriot. So how many do qualify for the final?
It's 10.
So we'll see as things progress, how the paddlers are set up. Clearly trying to get into that top 10 ranking for the final later today, as Alsu Minasova, thumbs up from the Russian. The K1 team bronze at the 2019 Worlds, her first major medal, with 6 at under 20 and junior level.
Yeah, these two gates, it's hard actually.
And I guess it's very early, and if you don't do them well, you're up against it.
Yeah, like if you're a bit late on 6, then you have to paddle through the current, and you lose a little bit of powerful, and you lose of time, a little bit of time. So it's quite hard. It's like there is two tricky parts on this course, like 6, 7, and these two greens.
And how much is it the mental strain as much as physical? Obviously, it's a clearly physical sport, but the mental fatigue.
Yeah, the mental, it's really important actually. I think it's like 40% of your performance.
As much how you react as well as how you react to negative things.
Yeah. You have to control every emotional things. It's other things.
As we see.
Yeah, she had plus 50 seconds because she missed the gate.
Missing the gate is all but missing a chance at a final spot.
Yeah, all your head and one part of your boat must be inside the gate. So if not, it's considered you're missing.
It's small margins. Tough for Minasova, as Antonia Oschmautz of Austria takes to the water, 19 years of age, a European bronze K1 team winner with Nina Verratschnig and Karina Kunel, world number 2. Both were expected to be in the field, but those Austrians haven't pulled out, so just Oschmautz on the course now. Already with time to try and make up.
The first part was okay, but she's doing a small mistake on this last hole. She didn't use enough the curler.
61st in the world. 5 of the top 20 in the world K1 rankings in this women's K1 event. So arguably 5 places potentially up for grabs for the rest of the field. So far, Rijon with the quickest time, and that is clearly not under threat. But still a second ranking for the Austrian. But will it be enough for a final spot?
So Roman is qualified at the moment. The first qualified for the final.
So Allez les Bleus in the final, 1 in. Will she be joined by the other French?
The other French. So Marjorie Delassus.
She's got the moves, but does she have the moves on the water?
She's really aggressive. The first part really good.
I think she also is a C1, a canoeist as well, more than.
Yes, and she's really good. She's qualified for the Olympic Championship.
Will that be her first Olympics?
Yeah.
22 years of age, exciting prospect. And also next year, obviously, the Olympic Games hopefully going ahead, but the World Championships will be in the same year for the very first time.
Yes. Normally, when there is Olympic championship, you don't have the World Championship.
So,
But with the coronavirus, it's everything is different. So
could be a very exciting opportunity for someone to be an Olympic and world champion in the same year. Although, imagine a tough ask. So what is the state of French canoe kayaking at the minute? A lot of positivity about the talent, the pool of talent in France?
yeah, there is a really good level in France because everybody, I think, everybody push each other, and the club, we have a really good system with the club in France. You don't have to pay too much for doing it, so
There's an
it's really
encouragement.
interesting, really interesting for all of the paddlers. You know, some country you have to pay every time to doing some sport, and in France we have this chains.
Marjorie Delasseux, clearly we focused on the C1 later in the weekend. Not quite well placed enough.
So the Austrian is qualified
So Osh
to
Mayotte. Oshmai also into the final as Aki Yazawa takes to the water. 28-year-old from Japan. Her only World Cup podium came back in 2010, but that was in Jiaxi, China, as the Asian Canoe Slalom Championships counted towards some World Cup points. But a 20th place at the 2016 Olympics in Rio.
really good up and right. She kept her speed very fast.
Really seeing the experienced paddlers take to the competition. You're starting to see that difference with, we're now in the top 50 ranked paddlers compared to the younger pretenders.
Yeah, they are more experienced, you know.
Is there a calmness you see in terms of they can really pull on their experience rather than maybe a younger paddler who there's a lot of emotions at being at this stage?
Yeah, it's a new for the younger. It's a new race, and it's quite. They are really nervous at the start, and you know it's a really big deal for them.
Pretty good from Yazwaya, not the quickest, but main thing is to try and make sure a place is secured in the final. We'll wait to see. 3 so far officially qualified, and Yazwaya is one of them. So France, Japan and Austria with spots in the final. Just 7 left up for grabs. And Ajda Novak will hope to make some home hopes available. 2016 Under-23 World Championships, finished 21st. She has been golden in Tassen at the Euros in 2017. That was though in K1 team. Can she go it alone for some success in trying to get into the final?
Yeah, she knows well the course. She's at home, so it could be a real difference because she practiced a lot here, and she's a bit late at the first time split, but the line's still okay. It's gonna be.
How tough is it to rediscover the line if you get yourself out of position?
Yeah, you have to play all the time with the different.
Is it almost like following a string? You're desperately trying to follow this path?
No, not really, because the current is changing, like you said. So you have to play and you have to adjust your paddling all the time. You have one line for sure, but sometimes could be different.
But is it more feel, because you can't obviously see, so in terms of feeling how the current is moving the boat?
Yeah. It depends your age and your posture and stuff. It depends on a lot of things. So she's a bit late, yeah, 9 seconds.
A little bit of nod of the head, but clearly there'll be frustration on your home course. But she didn't seem to be able to make that count as an advantage
5th.
Well, 5th so far, so still with some hope, but it's only going to get tougher as we edge into the top 30 athletes, and there'll be a lot of excitement with the next athlete. And wow, she's really going for it, Evie Leibfarth, blowing kisses, a junior world bronze medalist. But you were saying earlier, Bertrand, how excited the world of canoeing is about this athlete.
Yeah, she's really young. It's really rare, actually. It's not common to see one athlete young like this, and she just won the highs. So
Also,
she's really powerful for her age. It's really impressive, actually.
yeah, you'd expect obviously a certain amount of development as they get older, and yet the technical and the power appear to already be there at such a young age. She already the reigning Pan-American K1 champion.
Yeah, the line is not perfect. The first split, 2 seconds behind.
So at this point in competition, if you know that you're behind, but you know you're trying to qualify for the final, is it more just managing to make sure you don't have to go too aggressive maybe? It's difficult to know, obviously, with the timings.
Yes, and depend your level, actually. If you are really good, you can just manage and going straight in the middle of the gate, and the final is going to be okay. But if you are a little bit behind, you have to go really aggressive.
Well, the good news, no problems for the teenage American sensation, qualified for the final despite little hiccups, but overall incredibly impressive from the world 29.
So she's second at the moment, so she's qualified, plus 2 seconds per 95.
So in terms of qualifying already, it's because of the timings, or?
Because of the number of the athlete, you know. So there is like five more athletes, so
Five
the
more.
5 first at the moment is qualifying.
And it's Victoria Us of Ukraine, 27-year-old, finished 12th at the Rio Games, has medalled at under 23 level, a European K1 bronze at the under 20 level. She did have success in Tassin just last year, a K1 podium, 3rd place in the World Cup meet in June 2019. She'll hope that will give her experience to try and make the final.
A bit late on the first part. You will see like 1 second point 3.
You can just see even from the body movement and the paddling how tough it is out there.
Yeah. You have to go tight on the gate, but not too much, because if you are too tight, your posture is not good enough then, and you lose bit time then, so you have to control that also.
But not too bad at all. 2nd place, qualified for the final. No hiccups for Victoria Us.
Marjorie Delassus from France is qualified as well.
Okay, so a couple of French into the final. That'll keep Bertrand's attention. So Veronika Vojtova, the 30-year-old, hoping to be shooting her way to the final. A former K1 junior world champion. Oh no, in fact, got ahead of my notes there. 6 world championship medals with golds in extreme K1. And she looks in a bit of extreme trouble.
She hit the rock on the first up on the right. This up, it's really close to the bank, so you have to go a little bit behind the gate, and
I suppose the margin for error becomes quite small because of the positioning of it.
Yeah, the gate, it's really high on the 80, so you don't have to go really tight on this gate, because you can lose time.
The 30-year-old will hope. She's not lost too much. She has had...
Just 4 seconds behind.
Well, she'll be hoping it's not too damaging to final hopes, and then aim to do a lot better in the final. But see the heavy breathing. She's had to work so hard since hitting the rock.
She stays stuck a little bit on this wave.
That is clearly not a place you want to be, trying to paddle out of a prone position. She's certainly down on Prigent's excellent time, 10.39. And she is in a difficult place, ranked 10th. But obviously, fewer and fewer paddlers to come. She'll hope there's some chance for her. The Russians looking on is Anna Satila of Brazil. Under 23 World Championship silver in 2015 and 17. Her only major medal in K1 was a silver in the Pan American Games in Toronto 2015, but really has shined in 2 major tournaments in her home country, the Olympics in 2016 and the Worlds in 2018.
Yeah, she's a really strong paddler, and she's going up. She's still young, and she had a good result as well at the moment, and
clearly also a very accomplished canoeist across fields, 12th in the world in K1, but 3rd in the world in C1. And also a world champion in extreme K1 in 2018, along with 2 golds in C1 Pan American Games. So she can do a little bit of everything.
yeah, she's a real paddler.
How impressive is it when someone can actually move between the disciplines and still hold a very high level?
It's quite impressive, you know, because it's really tiring to doing both, you know, but could be helping for yourself. If you do K1 and C1, sometimes C1 it's helping for K1, and K1 it's helpful for C1, especially for your mentor, for your motivation.
Well, certainly plenty of motivation found in 2nd. The position she qualifies for the final. No problems for the 24-year-old Brazilian star.
The Slovenian is qualified at the moment. Novak.
So Novak in, and they'll be hoping there'll be 2 Slovenians. Although before we see the top-ranked paddler, it's Camille Prigent. Can she manage to beat the time of her namesake? Are they related at all, or just a coincidence of name?
No, she's a cousin of Roman.
Aha. So some family rivalry on the water.
A strong family, actually.
The parents paddlers as well.
Yes. She's doing well at the moment.
No surprise for the world number 9. A lot of K1 success at youth level, and delivered a big senior medal with a 2020 European K1 silver last month, and also a silver in the K1 team event with Delassou.
Yeah, she's a serious paddler. And you can see the first part was not really fast, but it's really enough.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, when
final.
you're going out so late, there's a chance to really hold back a little bit and manage it in a way that means you're not at risk.
She controlled very well all the current. You can see she's a little bit behind, but she can go faster, I'm sure. We can see that later in the final.
Well, we've seen it's the cousins who lead the way in the semi-final. The Prigents leading the way for the women's K1, but it's not about finishing first in the semis. It's about doing it in the final, but safely through. Slovenia will expect to have 2 competitors in the final. At the moment, it's our leading lady from the first half of the semi-final, Corcoran, who's under threat from the world number 4, Eva Tercel, 28-year-old, born in Ljubljana, the reigning world champion, aiming for home success.
Good on 6. Really tight on 7. It's hard stuff.
Well, she's twice medaled in Tassen, both though in K1 team.
A little bit low on this up.
You can see there the standings, the Prijons leading the way, Satila and Us making up the top 4 of this semi-final. So far so good for the Slovenian?
There is some mistake, but I think it's going to be okay for the final. She's a bit behind, but she's still fast. She's at home, she knows well the course.
Using the rock to her advantage there to prod her way
sometimes. Really tight on these 2 gates. Oh, a bit late. It's okay.
Well, her only World Cup win came at the Segre Olympic Park in Barcelona. That was way back in 2013. But no problems in qualifying for the final. Splitting the Prijons. And we have our 10. American Corcoran just edged out the 18-year-old. So close and yet so far. But we've got the 10. Likely could have picked beforehand. This was obviously an opportunity for younger paddlers to experience a semi-final in these COVID hit times, but it's the creme de la creme of the competition to make it to the final. We'll wait for official confirmation. But so far, who has really impressed you, Bertrand?
I'm really impressed about. I'm really impressed by the French paddlers, actually.
And not just because of your Gallic pride.
No. But I think it's also because they just finished the selection races, so you know, it's for that they are really strong at the moment, and also by the American. This young girl, it's really impressive. So let's see what's happened during the final. I'm really excited about it.
As we look back over the semi-final, the excitement will build for the final later on. We'll also have the men's semi-final coming up very soon. There's disappointment for those missing out. So here is the classification for the semi-finals. Romain Prigent qualifying the fastest, 82.87. Eva Tercel will look to improve on her time in the final, but the Prigents with a 1-3. The cousins followed by Anna Satila, Victoria Us, and the teenage sensation Eva Lebfarth. As we can see, the ones that missed out, Madison Corcoran led for so long, but the 18-year-old will have certainly been focusing on the experience more than potential final place, but being so close must be a little bit frustrating to miss out.
Yeah, it's almost frustrating, actually.
I suppose especially when you've gone early and you're looking and you're going, oh, I'm close, I'm close.
Yeah. It's about seconds sometimes, and it's less than 1 second sometimes. So one small mistake can be really a big mistake actually for the result.
Well, we can certainly see the challenging conditions in Tassin. The women have had their go, and we have our final 10. Next up will be the men's K1 semi-final, and later in the early evening there's also the Extreme K1. Well, the women K1 having successfully found our top 10 for their final later on. It's now the men's K1 semi-finals. Obviously COVID again hitting the field, just one athlete in the top 10 in the world. Peter Kauser, certainly the three-time Olympian and 2016 silver medalist, eyeing off his 4th Olympics next year in the men's K1, will be the red-hot favourite today. The Slovenian showed he was close to his best with a silver medal in last month's European Championships, and unsurprisingly loves racing in Tassin. Portugal's Antoine Lone and Russia's Pavel Igel, 7th and 9th at last year's World Championships respectively, and USA's Michael Smolin will likely pose the greatest threat to the hometown paddlers. So what should we expect to the difference between the women and the men? Is there much difference?
Depend. Sometimes it's like, sometimes there is 10 seconds of difference between the girl and the man, but sometimes it's less actually. Could be 6 seconds behind. You know, it's just about physical, you know. The girl and boys have a good, really good technical, but you know the men it's normal. Like the men have a bit more physical, so they are going a little bit faster than the girls. But sometimes it's really close actually.
I guess that's, as you said, like things have changed over the years, that technique has become more important than just brute strength.
Yeah, the sport has changed a lot. So a couple of years ago, you must have really good physical. But right now it's getting more technical day by day. So you have to keep really good technical. But for sure, you need to have a really good physical for improve your technical. It's the things.
We're trying to warm up on a chilly day here in Tassin. As I said, 8 kilometers northwest of the city centre in Ljubljana. Competitions held here since 1939. It was a natural rapid at the base of a dam in the Sava River until upgrades in 1990 for Olympic-style modern slalom course. As we see the start list for this men's kayak semi-final, MK1. And just as before, the paddlers going out in ranking order from highest to lowest. So the home fans, the few that are able to be here in these COVID hit times, will wait patiently, as will Peter Kauser for his chance to shine. And as we mentioned, Michael Sloman and Antoine Launay will expect to be in the final. But can we see a surprise in the field? We'll have to wait and see.
So like I said earlier, this whitewater course here in Tassen, it's really challenging for the paddlers, especially the first drop. So the reason the first drop for this race, I think it's because the flow is not, the flow is too high or too low, and so there are a lot of holes in the course. The current are really strong. The current is really changing. So yeah, let's see what's happened in this category.
Well,
Starting
Kaelin
now.
Friedensen, 17 years of age, ranked 741 in the world, but very much a bright star. His dad Eric's desire to deal with hot DC summers led him to throw the kids into the sport to get them comfortable. Kaelin on the water from the age of 2. So certainly looking for a fast start.
He's a young paddler as well. His first paddler.
As we saw in the women's field, this is a phenomenal opportunity for the young riders. This Friedensen's first semi-final in either C1 or K1 at this senior level.
Yeah, there are a lot of young paddlers in America at this moment.
Is that a consequence of success in the past, and now there's, because obviously when there's success, younger people suddenly are drawn to sports, and that's why the Olympics in particular are so important for growing sports.
There is one really good paddler in America since a couple of years now. It's Michel Smolin, and we will see him a little bit later. So he's a really good paddler, and I think he motivates a lot of young paddlers, and it's for that we can see a lot of new paddlers in America. Oh, she rolled. He rolled.
Well, as you're mentioning, not yet at the level of Smolin, but Friedensen doing well, I think, considering the problem there, to get himself moving again. A wry smile from the teenager.
So 85. So you see, the first woman was 82.
You can just see that shake of the head as he made contact first with the gate, and then what looked like a fun spin. Certainly not what you're wanting to do out in this level of competition. So Milos Jevtic, 23-year-old Serbian's first senior appearance in a World Cup event. You'll hope for better than he managed in Krakow's under-23 Euros, where he failed to make the semi-finals of the K1. This time, getting a chance at an exalted level. Can the World 4.67 make an impression?
Yeah, he used very well this hole. He's really tight on this up. This part was fast. He lost a bit of time at the first section before that, but still a good run.
So when you have like the perfect run, you're in the boat and everything's going right, is it very much more like a Zen moment? You're one with the boat, one with the water, and nothing can go wrong?
Yes, but sometimes it's about sensation, you know. You have a really good sensation, you are in the middle of your gate, and you arrive at the finish line and your time is not that good, you know. So kayaking, it's really all the time about sensation. So you can have a really good sensation and not going really fast.
A sensation for Milos Jevtic. Likely disappointment for penalty points. Almost 10 seconds down on the opening run from Fridensson. And really, these young riders have to hit a very, very good time to have any ambition of being in the final.
Yeah. It's really hard to go into the 10th for the final.
The next to try his luck, another baby-faced assassin, 17-year-old Martin Rudorfer, silver medalist in K1 junior final this year in the Krakow Championships. So certainly good pedigree, but this obviously a much higher level. How the big difference between those junior and under 23 competitions? It's clearly going to still be competitive, but how big is the leap going into the senior events?
When you are young, like your physical can really change, you know. So you can be really good when you are junior, and then it's a big step. It's a really big step when you enter to the seniors. Under 23, still okay, you know. When you pass like junior to under 23, it's okay, but under 23 to seniors, it's like a really big step.
So it wouldn't be that unusual to see someone who's medaled pretty well at the under 23 or junior level and yet not seem to make that next step when it comes to the seniors.
Yeah, exactly. And you can have a really good technical, you know, and perform in junior, and then it's not enough. You have to work for win the next races.
It certainly is enough for Rudorfer. The quickest time so far.
81.9.
Managing to outpace his fellow 17-year-old Fridensson. But now it's the Irish contingent who take to the water. First up, Oystein Farrell, who's still waiting for his coin to drop. But the 24-year-old will hope not to leave this opportunity uncaught. First senior semi-final, or even at under 23 junior level, so a huge opportunity for the Irish paddler.
He was a little bit low on 4. This up on 7 was pretty good. Still in time.
Certainly up for a laugh. Off and out of the boat, but now's the serious business, and somewhat clattering through, but managing to keep himself out of trouble.
Really tight.
Does feel like he's not quite 100% in control and trying to just manage the course.
It's okay, his line is pretty good, just he was a little bit tight on these 2 gates a little bit earlier, but still. Yeah, he missed the gate, so he paddled back to go in.
So if you miss the gate, you have a chance to go back?
Yes, if you miss
Which
the
obviously
gates,
with its 50 seconds, it's worth it if you can.
Yes, but you know, to enter into the final, if you miss the gate and you paddle back, it's still. Sometimes it's happened. You can paddle back and going into the final.
But for Farrell, it's not made a difference, sadly.
So
a missed gate.
You have plus 50 because remind you, the gate a little bit behind. He was a little bit this gate. He's a little bit tight, and all the head is not inside the gate, so it's 50 seconds.
So the one he missed and came back for wasn't the problem. It was the one prior that saw his time rocket. As I said, a rush of paddlers from the Emerald Isle Samuel Curtis, the next cheesing man in green to take to the water. Smiling in his picture, but it's going to be grimaces and hard work on the water. Well, like his compatriot, has only ever made K1 team finals. No medals or semi-finals or even finals in K1. So we were saying before, previously, with the younger paddlers, what is normally the peak age for a competitor? When would normally someone think to be at their best?
You know, it's really different. Like, there is a lot of different paddlers. We will see Koza, Peter Koza. He is like 30, 35, things like this, and there is a young paddler as well, like 19, and they can go
toe to toe.
Exactly. It's really different. There is a lot of difference. There are a lot of difference with the paddlers.
Samuel Curtis ranked second currently. So a decent run compared to his compatriot, the 26-year-old, likely to struggle for a top 10 place. So I guess in that sense, in other sports you can say, oh, experience in 26 or 27 is the perfect time, whereas, as you say, in canoeing, it very much depends on your skill set. When you are feeling at your peak, it could come early, or you, as you say, you see paddlers who are a lot older who are still dominating.
I think, yeah, you can still dominate, and also when you're a little bit older, you are more consistent, you know. Young paddler, you can see some really fast paddler, but it's hard for them to keep the win, keep to win. But for the older, we can see all the time the same names for a lot of time now. You know, Peter Kozer is still good since 12 years ago. It's really impressive.
To be that consistent, to keep your motivation as well as physique. Well, Ren Korpez of Croatia, 24-year-old's last time in Slovenia is 2019 when he came 28th in Heat 2.
Good up on the left, really tight, kept his speed. Really good up on the right as well. He's doing a good run at the moment. Really tight, in the middle of the gate.
He's competed as well at the 2016 Wild Water Canoe World Champions. Certainly managing the wild conditions here in Tassen.
Yeah,
into first place. Still a bit of a shake of the head. He doesn't look particularly happy with his run. Is he thinking more to what?
He looks like he's not happy, but
is that because he's thinking about what a time for a final place will be compared to he's ranked 1 now, but that will mean nothing?
Yeah, probably. And because he did some mistake, you know, but still a good run.
I guess you could do a good run and still think, if I'd done this, if I'd done that, or if I'd reacted better, it could have been better. So it depends on your mentality of the run. As Noel Hendrick, another prancing, dancing Irishman. Certainly the pubs in Slovenia will be bright and cheerfully green. It's the World 127, the youngest of the Irish trio at 22 years of age, but the highest ranked. He did reach the semis in Prague last month, finishing 21st overall. So if there is to be any Irish hopes of a final spot, it seems to be with Noel Hendrick.
He's fast at the moment. Yeah.
Well, fun off the course, serious on it. As Noel Hendrick.
He lose a little bit of time on this up. You know, he stayed a little bit stuck.
And I guess trying to get the momentum back, if you start losing it, it's going to have a huge impact on your time.
Yes, exactly. I think we can We will see, but I think he lost a little bit of time on this part.
We'll see from the time of Corpez.
Yeah, she's a bit behind.
So just a bit behind, ranked second. Highly unlikely to be enough for a final spot, but he's at least given himself some opportunity, and certainly the best that Ireland has to offer today here in Slovenia. You can see the conditions still very challenging. There was a lot of rain over yesterday. How much impact does the weather still have on these courses, despite the fact now they're man-made compared to the wild courses of the past?
Yeah, the weather, it's really important for the result for sure, but you know, the rain is not really a big deal. I think the most difficult thing is paddle with wind.
Joshua Joseph really firing his way through to the opening gates. Competed at first World Championship last year, although couldn't escape the heats.
He won the heats yesterday. Oh, doing well. A little bit late on these two gates. He didn't use enough the curl on the left, so he was a little bit low on the up on the right.
A little too excited about his early success in getting out quickly.
Yes, it's the problem. You have to
not congratulate
sit down.
yourself.
Yeah. But he's still fast, you know. He loses a little bit of time on this up, but oh, tight.
The 19-year-old American, thankfully for him, managing to avoid getting stuck.
Americans are on fire at the moment.
Well, that's
right,
seems to be the way.
I think it's going to be okay. Still a good time.
So Joshua Joseph firing
Yeah.
himself, and that is
It's a good run.
a much more positive response than we've seen from some other paddlers. His best senior showing in Tassin was at the 2018 World Cup, 4 in 2018, 11th in Heat 2, but he's given himself a chance, would you say, Bertrand, of a final spot?
Yeah, I'm confident with that. Let's see. You know, there is a lot of strong paddler, so let's see what's happened. But
He's given himself
yeah,
a chance.
He have a chance.
So Martin Stanovsky of Kazakhstan, the next to take on the Rapids. Debuted at the Worlds in Spain last year, another hoping to take advantage of the stars missing, who would normally push him and others out of reaching a semi-final stage. As Bertrand mentioned, Joseph winning the heats, although they weren't used for qualification for this semi-final, just a chance for the paddlers to get used to the course. Already troubles for Stanovsky.
Yeah, the third section was a little bit slow. A little bit low on this upstream.
Well, we saw a fabulous run from Joshua Joseph, and now we're seeing how unforgiving the Tassin water can be. Well, now the errors clocking up, 4 in total, 5, 16, 19 and 21.
Plus 8-second penalty, yes, so
It is good
It's not
night
enough,
Kazakhstan for Martin Stanovsky. 24-year-old won't be checking the leaderboard to see if he's made the final. You can see the tactics being talked out. And Frederick Wallen will hope to keep his head. That's one of the biggest caps I've ever seen.
It was tight on the first up, but the exit wasn't that fast. The thing is, you have to keep your speed all the time. So if you are really tight and if you turn really fast, your exit is not enough fast. So it's really the challenge.
To try and keep a consistent
Yes.
flow. I guess like you're trying to be one with the river.
Exactly, exactly. It's the things.
The 32-year-old Swede struggling a little bit. Was a semi-finalist at the 2020 Euros, but 30th to miss out on a final spot. In 7 years, he's managed 5 semi-final berths without making a final. And it looks like it's going to be tough for him to change that statistic.
Yeah. It's not enough. He's second at the moment, but
it's a misleading second place.
Yeah.
Well, you can see his reaction. We saw Joseph roar with delight, whereas for Wallen, punching the boat in frustration. And the experienced Swede, puff of the cheeks, aware of the difficulty he faced as we break into the top 100. World 90 from Switzerland, Dimitri Marx, 37th in the 2017 Under-23 World Championships. Did make the semis of the 2020 Euros and the Under-23 edition. Has medalled though in K1 team at those European Championships, but already a bit down on Joseph's time.
so yeah, on this course there are two tricky parts. So the first part 6, 7 and 13 and 14. These two parts are really important for the final result.
What advantage is there if you're, I mean, obviously you're a higher ranked paddler, but in going later, are you watching to see the kind of problems other paddlers are having?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You have to watch every paddlers and see what problem you can have, and normally you have to adjust every problem if you have it. Like I said, like it's all the time you have to adapt your
you can have an idea of how it's going to go, but you're still going to have to react.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's going to be different from the early morning to later in the afternoon.
Yeah, yeah. The best paddlers are them who control that all the time.
Sadly, not in control of his final fate. Dimitri Marx, 22-year-old.
The American still first.
So Joseph still holding out, but the competition only going to heat up further. Matthias Verga pointing his way to a final spot, he'll hope. Fingers crossed. And now he has to do it on the water. Represented Italy, in fact, till 2015 before switching allegiance to Austria. Followed up with the 2020 Euros semi-final K1 place.
He's a really good kayaker, and he's doing like whitewater, kayak, slalom kayaking, and also creek boat, and he's doing a lot of stuff. He's a really good paddler, and Austria is a strong nation as well.
Certainly also seems to be a bit of a character. He managed to win the 2020 GoPro $1 million challenge with a video paragliding.
Yes, yes. He loves sport, like extreme sport, and he's doing a lot of stuff. And yeah, he just touched the gate, plus 2 seconds, penalty.
That's certainly
A bit
going
behind.
to hurt.
Yeah, just a second behind.
Plus 3.68, currently ranked 4th, but you can see from the expression, it's tough going
So
for
to
the
remind
24-year-old.
To remind you, if you touch the gate with your body, your paddle or your boat, you have plus 2 seconds of penalty.
And
If the water touch the gate, you don't have penalty. It's just your boat, your body, and your paddle.
well, he certainly gave the gate a good hit as Jakub Krejci, 18-year-old Czech, junior European K1 bronze medalist, a teenager already 77th in the world.
Yeah, we can see a lot of young paddlers today. I think the nations make a chance for this athlete to win an experience.
Well, he was going for 2019 junior world gold, but his time of 85.42 was bettered by France's Anatole Delasseux.
Yeah, he's coming a little bit later. Anatole is a really good paddler. But these paddlers are doing very well. He's doing very well at the moment.
Will it be good enough to threaten the top 10?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can really see how much effort there is, as you say, like in terms of your body movement. They really have to dig in.
Yeah.
And that is a superb final run. Look at the smile. Tells you all you need to
That's a
know.
good
Ranked
run.
number 1 now. Finally, someone has toppled Joseph.
Followed by Zima.
Passionate explanation. Thomas Zima will hope to follow the performance of his compatriot Krejci as he gets ready to attack the course here in Tassen.
Good up on the right. He kept his speed in the middle of the gate.
Very smooth style. Certainly get style points.
Good. You see, he's a little bit less aggressive, but he keeps the control. He's in the middle of the gate and keep the speed, and he's a little bit early.
Definitely a lovely flow to his
He
style.
lost a little bit of time on this part. I
So
think he
far.
was on the top of the water, and he lost a bit of time on this second section, and he just touched the gate 16. So he have to paddle a little bit faster at the last section. Oh, he did a second mistake here. It's going to be hard for the final.
It's amazing how quickly it can change. He looked pretty comfortable, obviously, in that very early stage, and as soon as it goes wrong,
Yes.
it goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, it's really hard to control that, and the best paddler in the world can control every movement.
Well, tough run for Thomas Zima. The world 76 not able to match what is the leading run by his teenage compatriot Jakub Krejci. The next out, getting your tricolores out. Allez les bleus for Simon Henné.
Yeah, Simon, it's a really good paddler as well. He's not really consistent at the moment, but he could be really fast.
You've seen enough to suggest that there's more to come
Yes,
from him. Well, can he
yeah.
show Bertrand what he's made of? And so far, very good start.
Very good start, yeah. Good up on the right. Let's see what's happened next. Second tricky part. Good. Yeah. Good at the moment. This part is really boardy at this moment. Huh?
There's not a lot of space to get the boat round with the rock right there. It certainly
Yes.
puts them under pressure.
And the move of the current is really difficult, so it's really hard to stay on the back of the water and keep the speed. But he's doing well at the moment. Yeah.
Well,
Good
indeed.
It was a good run. I think.
Improving the time by 0.32 seconds. Simon N. With a very impressive run. It looks like there's going to be more than enough of the French in the finals to keep Bertrand awake.
The next one is Mathieu Desnos,
There you go, the Brazilian.
the Brazilian. He used to compete for France.
The Mathieu seemed like some kind of hint to some Gallic.
Yeah.
So when did he switch?
A couple of years ago, I would say 3 years ago. And
A big loss to France?
a loss for France, yeah, for sure, but you know, it's his choice and it's okay.
What would be the usual kind of reasons for switching of allegiance? Would it be support from a governing body or more of a personal decision?
It's your personal decision, but it's also the government. You can't really switch like this. You need to have the permission of the federation and the government, and yeah.
So it's not a flippant thing. It's not something you do on a whim.
No, it's
I'll be
not
Brazilian
that.
today, French tomorrow.
Nah, it's not that easy, and it's also really hard to represent at the Olympic Championship because you have to be born on this country. So he can doing like some World Cups and World Championships maybe, but Olympic Championships still hard. You can, but still hard.
74th in the world, Mathieu Desnos.
It's too bad because the top section was pretty good and he lost a bit of time at the second section. It's going to be hard for him to.
Well, the hand on the
penalty.
helmet, and now really giving it a whack. I don't think it needs any explanation of what he thought of the run. A good start, not enough in the latter sections.
Yeah, it was a little bit too tight on this up, and then it's hard to control.
You can just see the emotions of trying to drag your head round to the position. I imagine with photographers you can find very interesting facial expressions as they compete.
Yeah.
So Galindo Chiarello of Switzerland looking to hit the mark quickly.
Really aggressive.
Can he back it up through the rest of the Tassen run?
First section. It's okay. He's still a little bit stuck on this hole, but not a big deal.
Trying to convert this early lead. Split time had himself in the top ranking. As we see, it ends time of 46.14.
A little bit late on this second section, but still in touch. At the gate. We can see a lot of mistake is doing like the second section because the kayakers start to be a little bit tired, and it's really hard to keep the line when you are really tired. So we can see a lot of mistakes at the second section.
And plenty of emotions as well. Chiarello looks like a man who is thinking about what could have been after a fine start. But as you said, Bertrand, very tough once the physical and mental fatigue sets in the second half of the run on what is an Olympic-style course.
Yes. So at the moment, Simon Hainet from France, second one, Czech guy.
So N, Krejci and Joseph, the top three so far. Next up, Erik Holmer of Sweden, the world 66, will hope to improve on what turned out to be a disappointing run for compatriot Fredrik Wallen.
Yeah, really, really good top section. Really fast, he was really tight on every gate, and also he kept very well his speed. Yeah, that's a good line.
It's almost mesmeric watching, particularly the paddle moving and the athlete. It can be really quite poetic watching them run down when they get it right.
Yes, true, true.
So in that situation, he's getting stuck because of the line? He's slightly off, or just because of the way the water's running?
Yeah, the river water is running and it's really changing. So he passed this gate when the water was really high, and it's difficult to control that.
And you can see exactly that. I guess it's something that you can't always know exactly how it's going to react when you're entering a gate and find yourself stuck, or is it something a more experienced rider would maybe anticipate? I guess sometimes
you have to
control.
anticipate all the time, and you saw that before to start, you know. You saw this gate, it's really changing here, so you have to control your line behind and before that.
You can see the frustration of when it goes wrong. But now it is the man we spoke of, 19-year-old Anatole Delesseux. 63 in the world. As I said already, a junior world champion. What are his prospects in the senior kayaking scene?
He have a lot of potential. He is really fast, really strong, really motivated. He's training like a senior already. He could be really fast. And he can go into the final if he's doing a good one. And at the moment he's doing well. Good up on the right. He stay really aggressive.
Would it be that clubs now are quicker to identify riders who they can maybe start training in a way for seniors? Do you see these younger riders?
Yeah, no, he's a little bit behind.
Wow, really changed round.
Yeah.
After a very encouraging start.
Yeah, it depends when you are junior, like you can doing a lot of technical station and a lot of physical, and then your training is changing.
Well, it's back to the drawing board for Delesseux. Certainly looked positive at the start, but really found it tough suddenly. And you can just see how much the time changes. He was in green, looking good, and then suddenly the split time, red, 7 seconds. It's very quick how punishing mistakes are.
Like I said before, like you can have a really good line, and if the whole stop you a little bit, and if the different part of the current stop you, you can lose a little bit of time everywhere, and it's a big deal for the final result.
Well, a bit of love shown from Igor Viet. He's got the moves as well. Can he keep those shaking shoulders for the course? The world 56. Really trying to dig himself through this early stage. So as we see the standings, En leading the way, Cresci second with Joseph third and Giarello fourth, but we saw the Swiss reaction. He didn't look like a man who expected to be in the top 10 come the end.
Oh, really good up on the left, on the right, sorry.
Really giving himself a huge push off the rock. Trying to pick up some time on N. But not enough for Viet. So currently into 5th place, but as we saw in the women's K1, the placing in the top 10 that will reach the final will start changing quite dramatically as we head towards the top 50 riders and paddlers. You can see the post-ride chat.
With the mask.
With the mask, not the easiest thing, especially when you've made it mucky. Not sure quite what he's been doing, but as you can see, safety paramount here as we see another of the French contingent, Malo Kemeneur. He'll be hoping it's not a bad run, but he certainly brought his summer wear.
He's a strong paddler as well. Could be really fast.
Ranked 53rd
and at the
in the
moment
world.
He's fast. Yeah, good up on the right. We can see the speed. He kept his speed very well.
Certainly been wanting to challenge his compatriot, and just 0.12 seconds quicker. But can he convert?
That's a good run at the moment. Let's see the second part, the second tricky part. It's a good run. I think it's going to be okay for the final.
Just losing a bit of time in that final section, but Kemeneur ranked 3rd. Still in the wake of his compatriot En, who leads the way. Will it be enough for a final berth?
10 more concurrent, 10 more paddlers. So we can have our first qualify after the next paddler.
See the nervous waits for some. Or more likely, the disappointment.
Yes.
And another one he'll hope not to be suffering such blues. 2014 Junior World Silver Medalist Vid Kuda Marusik of Slovenia on his home water.
Yes. First part it's okay.
In a situation when you're the home paddler, you know the course, I guess it's trying to make sure you don't let the pressure take control, because you've got all these added emotions to counter your experience.
Yes, exactly. When you paddle all the time in this course, it's really an advantage for you because you know very well, but it's also really stressful because all your family are here and all your friends. But sometimes it's good for the motivation as well. Depend what kind of person you are.
The character and
Yeah.
how you respond
Character,
to.
yeah, for sure.
Well, breezing through, not quite quick enough, but for top spot, but third at the minute.
So
It'll now be a nervous wait.
Simon Henné from France, the first qualify on this World Cup.
So France with women and men's K1 hopes.
Yes.
That's Mario Littner of Austria, under 23 World Championship bronze medalist, ranked 44th in the world, getting his campaign underway at this World Cup event in Tassin as top class canoeing returns to the water.
Still fast on the first section. Good line. Good up on the right. Bit tight. These two gates.
See how his split time is. The 23-year-old did compete at
behind,
the Rio
1 second
Olympics.
Behind.
13th place in Rio. Looking for a top 10 spot for a final appearance, but suddenly putting himself under a lot of pressure.
These parts are really complicated. Like you see, it's a lot of paddlers have some difficult stuff here.
Well, not the first and certainly not the last to come unstuck. It was 18 and 19 that have jettisoned his final ambitions. But it does mean joy for the Czech Krejci, as he is the second paddler to qualify, along with still the quickest in the field, the Frenchman in, the two currently qualified. With every passing paddler, we'll start to see the makeup of the final, and hopefully be as colourful final as some of the masks on show here in Slovenia. And the unicorn, do you know which country has the unicorn as their official animal?
No.
Scotland.
Scotland.
Scotland. Who could have thought it? As we see Pedro
A lot of
Gonçalves
things.
take his picture. I'm absolutely loving these interactive introductions. We're getting to see a little bit of the personality.
Yeah, he is popular on Instagram with his sport, and he like that. And he's doing okay at the moment.
So another the personality on and off the water, but also performances on it. 6th at his home Olympics in Rio. Unsurprisingly, the best ever performance by a Brazilian canoeist.
Yes.
He certainly spoke about the legacy of the Rio Games, and particularly having the Rio Olympics followed by the World Championships 2018 must have been a huge boom for Brazilian canoeing.
Yes, yes, yes. It's not common, you know. And he's still a really good hope for his nation. He's a really good, yeah.
Well, he's
still
happy
good.
with that,
Yeah, yeah.
surely. Qualified.
He's qualified.
No
already.
bother.
Yeah, he's qualified.
Blinken, you'd have missed it. But the bright and entertaining Brazilian safely through to the final.
Yeah, the Brazilian nation is going up day by day. It's like there are a lot of good paddlers now. We can see Ana Satila in C1 and K1 women, Pedro in K1 men. That is pretty good for this nation.
I suppose you see as well that obviously with Japan hopefully hosting the Olympics next year, what that might mean for Japanese canoeing, depending on how they actually promote the sport, because it depends. Obviously, certain sports are going to get a boom compared to others. But
Yes.
so next up, another home hope, 38th ranked in the world, Nico Testen of Slovenia.
Yeah, he's the second Slovenian after Peter Koza. He's a really good hop as well for his country, and he's doing okay at the moment, in the middle of the gate.
But he has obviously experience of this course.
Yes.
The last time, 2019, the World Cup here, just missed out on a final place. He'll be desperate not to suffer the same fate here today.
Yeah, he's in control with his boat at the moment, but it's not that fast, but it's gonna be maybe okay for the final. Let's see.
I guess they obviously now have an
he lose a
idea.
bit of time on this up.
You see ends time of just
Yeah,
sub
it's gonna be
74
hard.
seconds. It's not really under pressure, but ranked 11. Well,
not
he
enough.
almost looked like he was going to throw up at the end, but he's certainly thrown away his opportunity of a final spot, ranked 11th, even before the rest of the field are complete. A real disappointment for the hosts here in Tassen, Slovenia.
6 paddlers left. The top 6.
So 4 paddlers confirmed. Slovenia do have Kuder safely into the final with Gonçalves, Kritsi, and currently still the fastest N. Can that be attacked by another Swede? 8th, the 2016 World Cup 5, Isaac Orstrom. Well, he certainly has made history before in Brazil 2016, the first Swedish athlete in history to compete in the Olympic Games in canoe slalom.
He lose a bit of time. He lost a bit of time on 6-7. He didn't catch enough the curler, but still a good run at the moment. Yeah. Still fast.
Done well to keep his nose in front.
Good section. Oh, really good section. He was on the top of the water. I don't know if you saw that. And it's a good run at the moment. Let's see the last section. Last up on the left. Good. A bit tight.
Certainly working hard.
Yeah, it's okay.
Only well, that's
really close.
that's a clear sign that he, I think, is a little bit happy with the run. The 30-year-old already qualifying for the Tokyo Games for Sweden. Came 5th, the first ever race at the Olympic venue that will be used during the Japanese Games, and safely finding his top 10 spot. In fact, just second by 0.04 seconds, and clearly ecstatic with his run.
The next who is waiting for the final is Malo Kemener.
So another French waiting nervously as Pavel Igel makes his way out onto the water. Was 9th at last year's World Championships. Certainly one who'd want to be putting himself in a position, the Russian, for at least a medal. Bronze medalist at K1 at the Rio 2018 World Championships.
He lose a bit of time at this entry of this up. Yeah, it's too bad. He lost a little bit his balance. I don't know if you saw that. And So he turned before the gate, he missed the gate, and he
An error that compounds another error that just ends up being a major issue. Only the 2 points, obviously at 16, but looks to be struggling. Well, that is
everything can happen.
Hugely disappointing run. Well, indeed.
Pavel, it's a good paddler, and he have experience. But
when it goes wrong,
exactly,
it goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
So obviously, one man's disappointment is another man's opportunity.
So Malo Kemener is qualified.
So Allez les Bleus, 2 Frenchmen into the final. Switzerland, the Czech Republic, Brazil, and the host Slovenia safely in. Joseph, the American, who led earlier on, looks like he could be okay, but he's got a nervous wait still as Lucas Vero of Switzerland takes to the water. Bronze K1 Team 2020 medalist.
Yeah. Touched the gate with his paddle. It's too bad his line was pretty good. Just have +2 second penalty.
Is that just
It's impossible.
not knowing where your paddle is, or just the position that he found himself in meant he didn't have enough room to?
Yeah, or sometimes you have to paddle a little bit like more to be more confident on this wave, and you touch the gate with, you hit the gate with your paddle. He's really tight on this gate. There's a bit of time, but
Well, he competed with his elder brother Simon, placing 9th in the C2 event in Rio. Wait to see his time.
7.
But
He's
in the
qualified.
end, qualified.
Yeah.
Had a bit of trouble, but in the end,
Yeah.
did what he had to do.
If you stay focused and if you keep going, you can have penalty and
It's not the end of your run.
No,
No, I've given up.
for sure
It's
not.
over. No, the 29-year-old showing his experience. And now a man we spoke of earlier, Mikael Smolin, 23 years of age, already a World Championship bronze medalist in 2015. And also taking bronze in the K1 team at the 2020 Euros. A chance for World Cup glory if he can find himself a place in the final. 27-year-old ranked 23rd currently and finished 12th at the Rio Games in 2016.
Yeah, he's really good paddler. He can be really fast. And this last year he's doing pretty well. Really good up on the right.
Really blasting through. He had his best year in 2015, bronze at the Worlds in London and the Pan American Games in Toronto. But since becoming an under-23 world champion in K1 in 2014, hasn't quite had the same success at senior level, but looking good so far.
He lost a bit of time on this last up, and he's a bit too tight on these 2 next downstream.
Well, we're certainly starting to see how good a time N had managed earlier. As Michael Smolin, 9th.
He's not in at the moment.
He joins the paddlers who have a nervous wait.
Still 2 paddlers left. Antoine Launay from.
So 2 paddlers with 2 spots remaining. So the American is going to have to look on nervously, particularly with the 2 riders inside the top 20 in the world. And first up, world 19 from Portugal, Antoine Lone, showing his muscle. Can he find it? The form when it matters. Although I guess at this point he's not under too much pressure because he knows he's just got to be one of the top 10 quickest.
Yes, exactly. But could be difficult sometimes, huh? If you're doing one mistake and then it's like, that's it, huh? It's like if you're doing one mistake.
I guess it can be like dominoes.
Yes.
One falls.
Yeah.
So far.
He's good, but if you're doing one mistake, he could be. But he's doing well at the moment. Yeah, good time. Second boilie part. He's doing well. Good up on the right. The exit is a little bit slow, but still alright.
Well, he did say his idol was Usain Bolt.
He touched the gate. A lot of paddlers have problem with this. He's in trouble with this gate.
Looks like it, and if his idol is the Jamaican specialist runner, he's going to need the speed of the Bolt.
It's not enough.
But it's not enough, and you just said before how costly one error can be, and suddenly a smooth run becomes a disaster.
Yeah. But it's good for Smolin.
Well, Smolin will be delighted. Didn't have to wait too long, and we can see the left hand taking him out of final contention. The 27-year-old world number 19 crashes out. Well, the young fans.
A future athlete.
There you go, exactly. But for now, the focus on the world number 4, the home hope, Peter Kauser.
Here is the boss. The boss.
Silver medalist at Rio 2016. Wink and a smile. Will he have similar expression after this run? We've already seen from the previous run from Lone, it can change so quickly.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are, but already you see the time looking very positive.
He's a really good paddler since a lot of time, like I said. 10 years ago, he was one of the top of paddlers already, and he's still really fast, really consistent. 1 second point 6 faster than Simon Hene.
As you say, by far the oldest in the field, and yet
he have the experience, you see.
I guess it's how you manage your body and your training and other things that you can start to see this kind of longevity.
Yes, and you know already he's top paddler because you know already he's qualified.
And there is the confidence.
Really yeah.
Plenty left in the tank. 1.64 faster. On N finally sees someone beat his time, and it is no surprise. It's the Slovenian home hope, world number 4, Peter Kauser, just beaten out to Olympic gold by Great Britain's Joe Clark in Rio. 17 medals between the world and European championships. There's no certainties in sport, but this felt as close to as Peter Kauser will lead out the top 10 in the men's K1 final here in Tassen. Well, a fantastic advert for K1 and canoeing in general. It's obviously been a sport as hard hit as any, but despite the disappointment of not having all the fans who would normally be here, just terrific to see the sport back on the water. And Peter Kauser leading out, the Frenchman Simon Hene, Isaac Ostrom, Jakob Krisi, Pedro Gonçalves, all in to the final. We can see Gelendo Cerarello in particular had such a negative response to his run, that 2 penalty points. And he failing to squeeze his way in. But France with a couple of hopes. A nice mix ahead of the final. We'll look forward to that later this early afternoon. The women's K1 and the men's K1 finals to come. But it's Peter Kauser who leads the way in the men's K1 final. We'll see how that goes later today.